He broke his leg one time, and that kind of just ruined it for me. Backflipping off a wall outside of McDonald's.
Is there a difference between like prayer and like speaking to God?
At times when I start to overthink, I start to question my own faith.
Just because I'm questioning God doesn't always mean the devil's at work, causing me to adapt and like purchase the right gear that I need. I mean, I use knee wraps the other day when I was squatting.
Let's clarify gear.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say that. All right, guys, welcome back to the Five Guys Pod. We are back after 3 weeks. About the last you've seen us, we were struggling with the one chip, and we were all in the hospital for 3 weeks. So, no, I'm just kidding. But we've been actually really busy, all three of us. So I've been busy with work, and so has John, and Rob has been taking little vacations. I'm just kidding. But yeah, dude, do you want to like kind of tell us about Mexico?
Yeah.
So just to give a background, Rob is now filming this boxer and took a little trip to Mexico to film, and his guy won, right?
Both
of them won.
Yeah, so I was recording 2 boxers and they both won.
Super sick.
Pretty cool. But yeah, dude, the reason I even had that opportunity to even go out there is just because of camera work. So one thing I decided to start doing is just making cold calls, reaching out to people. If they respond, they respond. If they don't, they don't. Kind of move on as an opportunity to work with them, whether if it's exchange for exposure or exchange for a paid opportunity. And I did an exposure opportunity for them on Tuesday. Went out to Lodi to their gym, recorded them. Then they had offered me to go with them to Mexico like a day and a half later.
Yeah, I know that was like a super quick process because
Yeah.
I remember you saying like, "Oh, I'm filming a boxer," and then like 2 or 3 days later, you're like, "I'm going to Mexico." I'm like, "What? No way!"
Yeah, so I took it as just an opportunity because and just an opportunity to work more, experience more things, stuff like that, and connections, all that great stuff. But one thing is, a lot of people ask me like, "Aren't you scared going to Mexico out there? Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared?" I was like, "No, not really. I have God by my side. That's a like I shouldn't have fear. If I have fear, then I don't believe God's gonna keep me safe. Because God knows everything. And with that, it's like if it is my time to go in Mexico, then it's God's plan. But if it's not, and clearly it's not, I'm here with the 5 guys alive in one piece, right?
Right.
Even though I went with a bunch of strangers, but those strangers actually just turned into like real great friends. Like it was nothing but a blast. It was literally like an Uber there, and by the time like we even got there, we were just cracking jokes the whole time. And coming back, it was just even more like just more fun. But overall, it was a great experience. Would I do it again? Yeah, probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how many days were you in Mexico?
Got there, I think like 3 days, roughly around there.
3 days?
Yeah, 3 days.
Now, what with that time spent there, did you notice like any differences from like U.S. versus Mexico, or were you kind of
there's a big difference just culture-wise. Language is the number one thing, but there's cartel. That's one big, huge difference. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. But the culture out there is completely different how it is in America. Something you don't really see out there, or maybe it's just the parts that I was, but you don't really see lazy people. Somebody's always trying to make a buck. Somebody's trying to sell you something like that. Versus in America, the homeless is just kind of just there.
Right.
That's one thing that caught my eye as a person who was just kind of aware to everything. But other than that, just going, and I went to Tijuana for anybody who's curious. But there's so many changes, but that's the one thing that caught my eye. You'll see poverty, but you won't see, you might have a drunk here and there, but you don't see anybody just crash not working.
Yeah, so I know just stories from what I heard from people before, when you're crossing the border, is that where you see like all those people trying to, let me wash your window, or let me sell you this, or this. So walk up to your window, right?
Yeah, dude, I'll show you videos and everything. It's pretty cool. It's basically like a mobile flea market. That's what
going
it is.
through the border.
Yeah, so going from Mexico to America. Once you're crossing, because you're stuck in traffic for about 3 hours to cross through the border. And during that process...
It takes that long?
Yeah, so that's how long it took us, leave at 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
To actually get through the border. On the other side was 1:30, roughly around there. But that's about average. During the day, if you go during that night, it's 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But because, people are asleep, people are traveling during the day. But yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's just like a portable flea market. When you're driving, there's different stands there. You want tacos, they're there. You want to buy some jewelry, it's there. They'll sell you statues.
It's like a last minute,
but it's because at the beginning the prices are higher, and once you get to the very end, everything's cheaper. Because once you get in line, if you buy something, by the time you get to the very end, you already bought it, and you bought it for higher. And for anybody who is at the very end by the border, they're trying to get you to buy something right before you leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it is a cool experience, and I don't feel like in danger of having, because we had all of our windows down, stuff like that, talking to everybody, cracking a few jokes, because they're really nice people. Because at the end of the day, that's their customers. Mm-hmm. They're not going to make you feel unsafe. They're not going to pressure you or anything like that. It's a lot of bartering the whole time. Where, hey, it's this much. Hey, okay, I'll take it for this much. It's funny because every time the lowest I can go is $60, and by the time you're done with the conversation, it's like down to like $35.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of it's just a flea market basically.
Yeah. Did you buy anything?
Tortillas.
Huh?
I bought some tortillas.
Tortillas.
No, did you was there like a lot of kids out there too?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of you'll see moms having like their up to like the youngest I saw was probably like a couple months maybe, like on their back, like just on a mother like the mother satchel. I'm not sure what they're just out there trying to make a living. Yeah. Then you have like 2-3-year-old kids.
Was it almost kind of like sad to see?
It is sad to see, but I was with a couple dads there that were traveling with us, and you could see more the emotional impact on them. For example, maybe if you went through there, I'm not sure if you have, but coming back, it will probably hit you a little bit closer trying to picture your kid in that situation. Because they're it's anything, bro. Like they'll come up to your car with trash bags to see if you even have any trash to throw away, and you just give them whatever change you have.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's down to that. They'll sell you like little candies. They'll clean your windshields for some money, and sometimes they don't even give you a price. They'll just ask for anything.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of like that. It is sad to see it, and does make you appreciate the life that you have in America. Because like I've always said, like we have first world problems. You have luxury stress. You have luxury worries. Out there, I mean, bro, like if you're going up to people's cars asking for change to throw away your trash, like you're hustling for something, Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, it was a good time. It is a reality kicker for you to realize how much worse the rest of the world can be. Mm-hmm. And when you come back, you do appreciate your life more.
Right. Yeah, I remember right before the pod, we were speaking about food. Yeah. You mentioned how good Little Caesars was out there.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, it is. Little Caesars has like their fresh dough. Because I'm not a fan of American Little Caesars, but if I'm in Mexico, again,
you're going to go for it.
I'm going to get down with it. Because it's good.
Yeah. How were the tacos and everything?
Tacos are pretty good. We went to, I think, 2 to 3 different spots. But one thing I will say is there's a lot of competition out there, bro. A lot of competition.
What do you mean by competition?
Like not even like taco trucks, like how it's like vans, but like an actual truck that has a taco station in the back, like on every other block.
Oh, interesting.
That's kind of crazy because 10 a.m. they have tacos, tortas, burritos, everything like that. Right on the street vendors.
Okay. I thought like taco trucks were like
they're more Americanized, but out there they have like actual trucks, like not like your traditional American taco truck, but like a vehicle that's just serving tacos out of there. And I know it sounds like a little bit like weird, but just think about like a regular pickup truck.
Tailgating, dude.
But yeah, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, it's like that, and they have like little tents stood up with hot dogs and everything like that. But it's like nothing but street vendors out there, like left and right in certain sections of it.
Yeah, I've never been to Mexico, and so I've never experienced.
Oh, really?
That. So. I can't say actually I never. I just don't remember. I was maybe 2 years old, so I'm like, I know what you mean. I've really never. Yeah. So, but I don't know. I do want to experience it, but I also have like.
There's a different experience going single. There's a different experience going taken.
Is there?
I will say that. Not that I've dabbled with any of that, but like from what the single guys do to what the taken guys or married guys do. So there is 2 different lifestyles out there when it comes to it.
Right.
We'll say that.
Yeah, I have a friend. His wedding is coming up. Shoot, I can't remember. Maybe it's in a couple months.
And I'm the one you were telling me about?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be going out there, but I'm like.
Oh, that's in Mexico?
It's in Mexico.
We're going to Mexico?
I think it's in TJ, actually. I think it's in TJ. But I'm just like on like the edge of like, and then plus I have like work going on. I have like a lot going on, so I really want to be there for him. But at the same time, I do have like other stuff that I'm trying to take care of as well. So it's like just weighing out the options right now. Yeah, if I do have time though, or I'm available, I'm definitely gonna go. But
I would suggest it. I mean, just to get yourself out of your comfort zone too.
Right.
And then just to experience another part.
Yeah.
Have you been to Mexico?
No, I haven't.
Really?
But I am going this year too.
Oh,
yeah, I'm just going. I'm sending it. No, I've been trying to go because my family is from Nayarit and they just built a house out there. Mm-hmm. And so it's been on my mind to go. And this year I was like, dude, I'm just going to send it. And my family and my best friends go all the time. And I mean, they travel into Puerto Vallarta and just have a heyday. The only reason I haven't gone is because I'm scared I might not come back.
That's the same.
Like,
that's the same fear.
I might just. My dad, I mean, similar to my dad. My dad hates coming back to America because he loves it so much. Not because I'm scared of, whatever. I just feel like I'd be like, at home chilling, having good meals, good street food.
And you'll wonder why people are so chunky out there too sometimes.
How was your stomach when you came back?
Fine, honestly. I did take I took a Tums out there, but that's nothing really. I took some other pills that will like make sure you don't get diarrhea, like the anti-diarrhea, but I never took them.
It wasn't like how you were after the one chip?
No, not at all.
You were doing bad, dude.
I yacked, I had the craps, I had everything, bro. But I kind of already knew it was going to happen. It happened the first time. But that's why I was so like, here we go again.
Yeah. Dude, we didn't even talk about the side effects, but I know that's another topic. But
do you guys want to? We could actually jump into
it since we're talking about stomach issues.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into it. So
how'd it go?
We'll start off with Rob.
Yeah. I was the first one after. I think I handled it fairly well during. It was
on
during
camera. You and John actually looked pretty good. I'm like, dang, these guys handle it so well.
Nah, I was the first. I started getting like hot sweats, like if I had a fever going on, like my whole body was like soaked.
Literally, Rob went to the bathroom, came out, and he was drenched. I'm like, dang, dude, it looks like you were in the sauna. It was that bad.
Yeah, it was that bad. I had a bad stomach ache. Then I had the craps. I was gonna say another word, but I had the craps, and then I yacked it up, and that was it. It was over. The experience was over. So that was it. It was a quick 15 minutes of torture, right? And then done. Went back home and I ate that night again. So, but yeah, and that was it for me. How about you guys? How did you? Because I didn't hear a lot from you guys.
Oh, dude, honestly, I felt pretty okay, to be honest. I think during it, it was really hot, honestly, but it wasn't like spicy hot. It was just more of like painful, right? And so it was just painful. But the aftermath of it was. Okay, I mean, after I went home, I ate right away, and then I just made sure to drink a lot of water, and I only got like a minor stomach ache when I was in bed. I was like, dang, this kind of sucks. But it would like come and go, but I didn't like get any sweats or vomiting. I just felt like, damn, this just is uncomfortable. I just felt uncomfortable in the stomach.
And how was your morning?
Morning was a little tough. I mean, and I'll let the audience put that together. Yeah. It was a little rough, and I was like, man, that was
did it burn
the worst. Yeah.
No, I experienced the same thing. I was actually fine. I actually took it the worst, so I was having a horrible time on camera. Then after, I didn't have any stomach ache or anything, so I was fine there. But the next morning was a little rough.
Dude, what's so funny too, and I don't know if I shared this with you guys yet, but my barber. Well, watched the video, and I was getting my hair cut by him the other day, and he was like, man, it didn't even look that bad. It's probably not even that hot. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, I'd do it. So I actually bought him a chip, and it's sitting at my house right now waiting for him
you better
to eat it. I am.
You're going to have special guests.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine he eats it and he's trying to cut your hair.
That's impossible.
No, bro, it's so funny because I need to give it to him because I told him I was gonna order it, and I think he thinks I was messing around, but I was being serious, and he was being serious. So I don't know, but I told him that I was like, okay, I'll tell the people on the pod that you're gonna eat it, and let me record a little snippet to send in. But same exact one as we got. I got it for him.
They're back there too. For anybody who's wondering, those three right there.
Well, I wish your barber good luck because
if
he's like me, then it's not gonna end well.
Dude, why wouldn't you eat ice cream? That's why we calmed down so fast.
I'm telling you because when I was over there, I was almost panicking. Like I was almost gonna tell you guys to take me to the hospital because my tongue, even when I was running it underwater, I still felt like I'm like, what the heck? This is not gonna go away. And as soon as I would turn, I would feel the fan of the.
Oh, like the air,
and the air would hit it, and it would make it so much worse. So I'm like, how are you guys doing that? And as I'm speaking, it's just getting worse. Mm-hmm. So I'm just running my mouth under the water. And you're like ice cream, and I'm like, I can't even. If I get up and walk towards the ice cream,
you can't even think.
So it was terrible. And then I think at one point I'm like, hey, is my tongue bleeding?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So at one point when I was editing, I started to think too, is his tongue bleeding? Mm-hmm. But it was the hue of the coloring that made it look even more red from the GoPro angle. Yeah. Because on the other angle, the regular camera angle that we had, it looked normal. But the hue I had going on the GoPro, I was like, I got worried. Was he bleeding? And we just laughed at him while he's bleeding.
Yeah. No, but you know what it was is if I would just to get water and kind of gargle it and spit it out, it would be fine. But I was doing I don't know how to do it, but I felt like I was pulling it out of my tongue. if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it.
I kind of know what you're talking
Like
about,
you
but I
go
don't know. Yeah.
Like you go like
Like you're sucking the saliva and everything
yes,
out of your
and
tongue.
like up off of your
Oh,
tongue.
okay, yeah, I got
and
you.
I think that's where like the redness came.
Yeah.
But when I would do that, it would make my tongue burn even more.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think it
you're
was like
experiencing
rising.
again.
I think it
Yeah.
was rising up to my like yeah.
This
And I'm
made it
like,
worse.
You should have drank Pepsi.
But I was like, I need to get all this spice out. Like
Yeah,
I'm not trying
yeah.
to deal with this for the rest. So I was like trying to take it out, but it was also making it worse. And I'm like,
God.
then I started like freaking out. Like, am I bleeding? This looks like
Yeah.
scary.
Jesus.
But yeah, that was definitely an experience that I'll never do again. Heck no.
Into that, actually, thank you to everybody who purchased one of our first shirt. 'Cause we did do the
Yeah.
one chip on
Shout out our
all 30 people. All
I don't know.
supporters.
Do we supporters? There we go. I was
Yeah.
gonna say fans, but yeah, supporters
I
definitely.
like that. Our community. There we go.
Yeah.
The Five Guys community.
Are remarkable people.
Love it.
Mhm.
Love it.
And then one thing to plug in is this Friday, our next batch is available. And we do apologize again. We were extremely busy, but this Friday, our shirts are able to be picked up. So we got to sort that out and then start the new process for shirt number 2. Go from there.
Do we have like the front and back now? I think we only showed the back of the shirt.
Yeah, we only showed the back of the shirt, but
We're gonna throw it up on the pod, or we're gonna just.
we're
let
gonna
it-
save it. We're
Okay,
gonna save
gotcha.
it for the announcement. Give them a little bit more of a that's it.
Gotcha.
Hopefully that's a reaction. I'm like, oh, cool shirt. Tap.
Really quick, is it the same quality as this one?
Yep, same quality. The only
perfect.
difference
Nice.
is just the color and the design.
Mm.
So we did go with the lighter color because it's summer. I know a lot of people said these are heavy tees. Which they're heavy tees. That's kind of how it retains the quality of it. But we don't want you guys burning out there if you guys are rocking one of our shirts. And since we went with the lighter color for the summer, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. My boys actually have worn. I've seen them wear this shirt like 2 or 3 times.
That's
And
pretty
they
cool.
just love it.
It's super cool to see people wearing it at the gym. I'm like, yo, thank you for supporting. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like and you go in and you just turn. It's like a Five Guys shirt, and you're like, wow, that's kind of cool.
The crazier part is, like, God bless our future, but like when you're in a drive-through or something, you see somebody on the street just rocking, like, oh, what the, like that, like that's what I'm waiting for, Like I appreciate everybody now, but like just to make it to where like people who you don't even know are rocking your shirt, I think to me that's a little bit more impactful. Like, whoa, how did that get there?
How did
What's
you
the story?
Yeah.
Because if like you see like your brother or your sister rocking a shirt, it's family
Yeah,
connection.
like thank
that.
you. Yeah,
But
but
when
then
you
I know
yeah.
what you're talking about. Like, hey, you go through, or you're just like at Target or something, and somebody just walks past you with the Five
Like-
Guys shirt. I'm gonna stop and be like, hey, how do you know that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and then that'll be that'll be crazy.
Yeah, it
Actually.
will be.
It is cool though. I mean, I know I shared text messages with you guys
Yeah,
of some
yeah.
friends that had hit me up, but I was like, wow, you really took the time to like just congratulate us on the pod and just tell us how impactful it is. But I'm starting to hear it more frequently now of people asking me like, hey, how's the podcast going? How's it going? And it's been like a cool conversation starter. So yeah, despite the last couple of weeks being busy, I mean, I'm glad that we're still committed.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
definitely.
and still making things happen. But yeah, I mean, ultimately that just made me feel really like grateful for you guys, but also for the people who actually take the time not only to watch it, but to reach out and share some good words of affirmation.
Definitely. And like to reinforce John, it's like we do apologize that we were busy, and there might be a couple times in the future like where a pod might not come out in 2 weeks, but I'm working on something that might help us with that, and I'll explain to you guys after the pod where we don't miss a pod anymore, but I got to pull some strings and stuff like that, but we'll talk more about that later.
Cool.
But happy 1,000 subs.
Oh,
on
that's
YouTube.
right.
We're at 1,003 subscribers. So,
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's you just pushed them off. Like,
No.
Oh,
I was
yeah, over there,
pointing.
1K.
Dude, even though I can't even freaking see it, but I know it says 1K
right there. Yeah, so that is pretty cool. 1K in like what 3 months of just like nothing but just posting and posting and posting and posting.
I'm trying to stay as consistent as we can.
Yeah.
So I mean, 1K doesn't versus like all these other people. But,
Yeah.
Hey, 1K is 1K.
Well, yeah, it's like take pride and like glory to like the milestones that you're achieving, because next is 5K, then 10K, but every one sub still matters. But it's just seeing like those digits change on your channel. It's just like that work's paying off. It's I don't know, it's cool to see it. Not even that, it's just like the shirts, the pod, and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into the next topic, did you guys want to?
I know we have a few topics on there.
By the way, this podcast is like not planned. I mean, we were trying to plan our last topics, the last couple episodes, but we kind of bummed into this one like with a 5-hour notice.
Mhm.
We're all been busy and all
we've
that
been
stuff.
really busy. I've been
Yeah.
working nights, and it's just I'm working nights in other cities, so it's just crazy. I come back and maybe have like 5 hours of sleep, and then it's back to work.
Yeah.
And it's like this. It's like right now I'm living to work. So like the pod is, obviously
It happens.
this, and then my gym stuff isn't going well right now. As you can see, I'm like deflated.
Stop.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just really trying to find a balance at the end of the day. But it's like whoosh, everything's like this. So once work kind of levels out, like here in Stockton, then maybe we can start finding like more consistent.
Well, I think that's cool that you're at least honest about the gym and being deflated.
Yeah, dude, I got told at the gym today, like, dang, what happened? I'm like, what do you mean?
What the hell?
Yeah, dude. So that kind of motivated me. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I really need to
That's
get
good,
back
though.
to it. But she's coming from like trying to give me motivation.
Oh, that's good though. That's good.
But she's a power lifter, so she knows like where my lift should be. I think you know who it is.
I think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like trying to give me that
She's
motivation.
so nice.
Yeah, she is.
She is
She's
really nice.
She's just trying to give me that motivation to get back into it because my numbers are not where they should be. But I mean,
That's good though. It's good that you took it as a form of motivation versus somebody else who would take that as an offense and just kind of like sit and wallow in their own emotions. Like, oh,
Right.
she's right, this and that. But you took it as fuel. That's good.
And I love that about like our gym community. We're just all kind of close like that. So it's like if you see somebody kind of slacking, like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, I know you could hit 315 or I know you can hit 325. And then you're like, oh, but you just got to give them that little push.
Yeah.
You'll
But
get there.
also, I mean, it kind of goes to show that like even like the most motivated and dedicated people to the gym struggle. I think,
Definitely.
Similar to you, life has just gotten like so crazy busy and mentally and emotionally just been drained. And the gym has been more of a dread. And I think, as people who go to the gym often, this is something that we experience. And this happens a lot in life, but it's something that I was feeling too, where I was like, I feel like I hit a plateau or I'm declining a little bit.
Yeah,
just the way that I'm
that's me
performing
right now. It's like, it's like almost like when you're doing really well and your numbers are going up, you're like thinking about it throughout the day, like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym and hit this. But like right now, since I'm working so much and then I'm driving back, I have like an hour drive back or 2 hours, just depending where I'm at. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like motivate myself to go to the gym, but I'm like falling asleep and I'm like, dang. And then it turns into more of like, okay, I guess I'll go to the gym. And then I just have no motivation. Just
causing me to adapt and like purchase the right gear that I need. I mean, I use knee wraps. The other day when I was squatting.
Let's clarify gear.
yeah, dude, I was gonna say that.
You said
Okay,
find the right
kind
gear.
of
And he's like, hey, yo, hold on.
Save
yourself.
I've had some people ask me if I'm on anything, and I'm not. But
Dude, I don't know.
just
Your
been
numbers
grinding.
are looking a little sus.
I know.
365 bench,
Yeah.
like 525 squat or whatever you got going. I'm like, dang, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, bro. I mean, my squats kind of came out of nowhere. I was, dude, ever since I started doing low
Sarms.
bar and watching, I'm
just kidding.
But anywho, I just like, I don't know. I was even talking to Daniel the other day because when I was working out,
was he like, oh, you should do 315 on incline? You're like, all right, you just did it. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, but that also I think just ties back to our gym community. How like
definitely.
if we do fall off, we check each other in a nice way or see what's going on. And I haven't seen Daniel in a long time at the gym, but I was having a hard week, and it was just funny because he was like, "Yeah, just why don't you hit 315 on incline? Can you?" And I was like, "Yeah, so nonchalant." And I was
just hit
like,
315.
He's like, "Just do it." And I was like, "Damn, okay." And so I did do it, and I was like, "Wow, I actually did it." So it was cool. And that to me felt really good because I was like, haven't been feeling it at the gym, but part of the reason why I go there is not only for physical elevation, but emotional and mental elevation as well, just trying to take better of my well-being. And he just made me laugh because I was like, dang, he's like, you should have hit another one. And I was like, bro, you just told me to hit 315. So nonchalant. But yeah, man, the gym's been going good, not on anything, but I do hope that you find that spark.
Yeah, dude, it'll eventually come. I just need to just really, I guess, find my balance and just go from there.
Oh, but where I was going with that is, you know how you're my challenger? Mm-hmm. He called me out, so he's my challenger now, too. So he said he's going to try to catch up. And I was like, dang, okay.
Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, 365 bench, I'm like, dang. Because I was like, all right, 335, that's where I was at. And I'm like, dang, as soon as you hit 335, I'm like, this guy's going to go further than that. So it's like, I feel like it's like a Vegeta and Goku like
Yeah.
relationship kind of going right now. So yeah, maybe I'll use that as motivation.
Yeah, you should, dude.
Oh,
Go Super Saiyan right now.
kind of look like me on the toilet.
Well, my thing too, real quick, and this is something I've been thinking about. I know that we have other topics, but dude, like I look at these numbers too, and I just feel like it's not enough.
Yeah, dude.
Is that just me
or
like,
I know
because
exactly
the
what
social media inflates stuff?
maybe I just
Because
like,
I hear a lot of people talking about that.
well, because when we were younger, right, 225 was the goal,
Right.
315 squat was the goal, 405 deadlift is the goal, and now that I'm like past that, I'm like, okay, 315 is like the new 225. 500 is like the new 400 or 405.
But I think what it is we've been training for so long, and we've been like, okay, we were 225, and we're done with that. Now it's like we're at 315, and 315 is the 225 now, and it's like we're looking forward to like 405 now on bench or something like that. That's how I'm like looking at it. Because I'm like, dang, like I feel like 315 is. I mean, don't get me wrong, 315 is on bench is definitely heavy, but I mean, this guy's over here hitting 365, so I'm like,
yeah. And to me, dude, it's like I told myself, okay, I'm right when I hit 500 squat, when I hit like I'm gonna bench 405, I have to, and then a 600-pound deadlift, like I'm just gonna stop. And I'm not a power lifter. I just love the challenge, right? Working hard during my workouts and just grinding.
I was like,
but
hey, come deadlift with me? Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, but like now I'm just like, am I gonna stop? And if so, when am I gonna stop?
yeah.
How do you
You know what,
advance
dude?
the next one? No.
Just to bring up like a little side note. So like we're just before the pod, we were talking about how we're getting older. The other day, maybe like last week, I was at like a playground and was trying to do the monkey bars, and me being like a super competitive, I'm like I could skip 2. So of course I go to like skip 2, and as soon as I let go, put on my weight, my shoulder literally like, and dude, like after it didn't hurt, but the next morning I woke up, dude, I could barely do.
God.
So I'm like, dang, I'm getting old. Like I remember being younger, and the monkey bars were so easy, just
all
like
the time.
boop, boop, boop,
Hang
boop,
upside
boop,
down
boop.
from them and everything.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
and I'm like. Or maybe I just like I can't do pull-ups, so maybe it's just me not being able to do my body weight and me thinking all confidently, and I'm like I can skip 2.
Yeah.
On that case, I know this is a little off topic, kind of scary little thing, but if you're a parent, if anybody takes their child to an amusement park to a park with monkey bars, check the monkey bars. There was a report a long time ago where somebody was putting razor blades on the
I
monkey.
heard about that.
I've seen that picture.
So just a reminder of that to audit the playground before you let your child hop on it.
Definitely.
Bad people
Dude,
out there.
and I heard similar stories of people doing that at gas stations. So like when
Oh,
you
on the
pull it-
handle?
yeah, it's like a needle, and it's like
Damn.
has like HIV or something on it. So like when
Disgusting
you
with that, yeah.
squeeze it and it'll like get
Yeah.
you, then you're
That's a new one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah. There's like a lot of stories like that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's a messed up world that we live in. There's I don't want to go into that right now. There's just like a whole different type of energy that we're. But anyways, talking on the topic of struggles that you started off with. Do you guys want to talk about lifting anymore by any chance? Because I was just gonna pivot this to
want to
something
finish
else.
off on lifting?
Yeah, I mean, last thing before we pivot is I get where you're coming from about the monkey bars. I tried to do a handstand the other day, bro. And before, dude, I could do it no problem. Just like walk. I mean, during football practice, we would do them all the time just for fun to see who could walk the farthest. And dude, I literally cannot get all the way up on my hands anymore.
Yeah, dude. It's
I was like, oh
I don't
my
know
gosh.
if it's age or just like we're not.
Maybe you lost touch of it too
Yeah,
for not
it's-
doing it for so long.
yeah,
Like I
it
want to
was-
hit a backflip.
I
but
was like so disappointed, dude. You said a backflip?
A handstand from a backflip.
bro, oh man, I used to be so into that, and now I just
Were you in cheer back then or no?
No. I was a football player. But
just said he was a football
I
player.
know, but handstands and backflips,
Yeah.
I can only assume,
I just liked it. I don't know. It was just cool. I mean, me and my stepbrother would always do like parkour, I guess, like backflip off of stuff. And, he broke his leg one time, and that kind of just ruined it for me.
Oh.
Backflipping off a wall outside of McDonald's, and we had to ride the bus home and tell our mom that he broke
and
his
he's
leg.
on the bus with like
Bones stuck
Yeah, bro. But anywho, yeah, age is definitely a trip, dude.
yeah.
Honestly, as much as like I'm super into lifting now, I mean, the dark side's not too far out of the way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna hold
I
off.
just caught that as soon as you said it.
Yeah, no, I want to do everything natural. Honestly,
Yeah,
that's the
same.
goal. Is like I might not look the way that someone who's on natty looks, but at least I'll lift just as much.
Mm.
That's the goal.
I think that's a true testament, though, at the end of that is people, and there's nothing wrong with hopping on anything, but having that discipline to not go towards another route that might seem tempting, you know? But, yeah.
Segue.
Struggles.
My
Talking
friend's
about
cat's name is Struggles.
it's a very interesting name.
Really?
Yeah, it's really funny.
Come here, Struggles.
Yeah,
You don't want to be saying that all the time. Come here,
What?
Struggles. Like
Cat's name is Struggles. Super cute though.
that's funny.
She's not struggling at all either. She's spoiled, but I just think it's funny. Anywho,
But yeah, Struggles. Something that we talked about, and I texted you a long time ago about some stuff because it's been some time. But how often do you guys struggle with your guys' faith with God?
dude, you know it's so funny. And sorry, I
Yeah.
only want to talk first because I've been thinking
definitely
about this when you asked.
Mm-hmm.
My thing that I came to the conclusion of is because like I question my faith a lot to answer that question. Like and the question that I ask myself, or the conflict that I have, is like not whether Christianity is the best religion, but am I best for this religion? You know what I mean? And I think the doubt doesn't come from God. The doubt comes from myself thinking I'm good enough for this. But it's also, in all that to say, insecurity.
Yeah.
And I think as humans, we kind of encounter similar insecurities, even in relationships, going for promotions, going for a PR at the gym, where it's like, the weight's the weight, the goal's the goal, but are you good enough or strong enough at this point to achieve it? And that made me think about your question, because I was like, like Christianity, God's all powerful. I believe in God. But the doubt comes from myself not being good enough sometimes.
I see.
So you feel like, well, because I know there's no such thing as like a perfect person or a perfect Christian in that way. So I do get where you're coming from, though, because everybody wants to be that like perfect Christian, perfect person. But for me, where I guess almost question, I do, to answer your question too, I do question my faith. And recently I've been doing it a little bit more because I feel like I have a lot of things going right. And that's one thing that I struggle with, is when things are going right, I kind of almost lose sight of my faith. I know it's there, but I'm not pursuing it and trying to pursue and strengthen the relationship that I have with God. But I almost turn my head this way, and I know he's here. And I'm trying to break that habit, because I'm going through it. It's something that I'm going through right now, and I'm trying to break that habit. I don't know if it's a habit or I don't know what it is. So I'm trying to find it within myself and trying to figure it out. See, lately I've been trying to, I know that there's certain things that I need to do. Like I need to read the Bible a lot more than I do already. So I'm trying to find that time, and I know I can make time. It's just I'm not doing it. So I'm trying to, I pray that, he can help me do it. But at the same time, what am I doing to do that? Right.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think at the end of the day, it just comes from me not making time.
Discipline.
And it's, I think that's what it is. It's a lack of discipline from me. And it's just I don't know. It's something that I'm trying to figure out, because right now, like I said, I'm trying to find a balance. And with that comes, work, the pod, hanging out with friends, God, and God should be on the top. But of course, life is life, and it's just I just need to find that balance. So I think that's where my doubt of faith kind of comes in, and it's something that I'm working on.
Yeah, no, the reason I asked that is because I wouldn't say lately, like just recently, but a couple of weeks ago, I messaged John. I forgot what the question was exactly, but it was a question about faith or a statement about faith or something like that. But it was mainly about like at times when I start to overthink, I start to question my own faith. And in that, it's like, yeah, but does God love me? Am I worth it for God? Like things like that. And then that brought me as like, no, this is normal. It's pretty normal to think that because it's like trying to understand how much God loves you as a person. And you think it's like that love's not possible. But with God, it is extremely possible because it's God. And it's just been even sometimes still to like, just not just the other day like a story, but even still just like recently, even though I said it wasn't recently, but still there's times I still catch myself. I still like overthink like when I do something, is that from God or is that from the devil? Because there's things that I think about and it's like when I question my faith, am I truly questioning my faith internally in my heart, or is that the devil just trying to play around with my head? Because as we've always said, the devil can't take things away from you, but he could certainly like implant lies into your head, make you overthink and kind of make you fall off path. So with that, there's been a couple times where I'm just overthinking things. I'm like, where is this coming from? Is this in my heart, or is this the devil trying to mess with me? So I don't know. I also want to ask you guys that to see if I'm alone in that or anything else.
No, I definitely think you're not alone because I sometimes I go through that too. But I think I've heard it on maybe I always refer back to George Janko. George Janko kind of mentioned something similar, and he says when you're having those thoughts of like overthinking, pray on it first. Pray on it first and see where. I don't know if you like. You just pray on it, and whatever you feel from that point on is. Sorry, I can't remember where I was going. But I think you tie it into where like God is going to lead you in the right direction as long as you pray on it.
Yeah,
I see. I guess
go for it. No, I want to.
No, I was just gonna like reinforce what you said, like walk by faith, not by sight. But I think that's human nature, is that we're so used to seeing everything as in like it's real because it's in front of me, versus walk by faith, which is with God and having that relationship, not by sight. That's what I would say I struggle the most, is not walking by sight, but walking by faith, because I'm so accustomed like. The reality of the truth is, if it's in front of me, it's real. But then I'm so challenged to accept the faith of walking blindly, but not blindly, but walk through faith. But yeah, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, back to what Javi was saying. I'm gonna bounce back and forth because I want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Train of thought, but where you were coming from too, and I think like the discipline thing is relatable to a lot of people because us gym goers, right? We understand the efforts and I guess the trials it takes to be great in the gym. But the amount of people that I hear too that are like, oh, I want to work out, I want to change the way I look, I want to change the way I feel, but they don't have enough time. And I'm just kind of curious how you think about that, because to me, I'm like, but you do, but distractions happen.
People do. Have to find the time.
Absolutely, make the time for the things that you really want. And I guess one thing too, like that I've learned from my grandpa is he's like, I will always do anything for the things I care about most. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. And something that's resonated with me. So that was just like food for thought. And I'm not trying to be condescending or anything, but I know that that's a relatable sensation for people who are like questioning God, or their faith, like there's going to be moments where you are living a high and it's going to feel like you're kind of distracted by the shiny coin. But the one thing that I always think about too is like, if that's a gift, if you receive that gift from God, then why wouldn't you include him or like thank him? And then as far as, your topic goes of doubting faith, what I think Javi said is absolutely valid. I think in moments when I'm in turmoil, the best thing that I can do, dude, is cut out all the distractions and just spend alone time with God, just praying and asking clarity questions. And I think the one thing that has helped me a lot is that just because I'm questioning God doesn't always mean the devil's at work, right? Because God gives you free will to make choices. Like he wants you to choose him in a relationship. And sometimes I would think like, oh, is this thought bad because You know, could this be the devil at work influencing this thought, or is this actually me? And then that sparks up a lot of insecurities of what I've been saying is like, am I good enough for God? And so I do have to remind myself that God's already chosen me, right? And the one thing that I need to acknowledge is like, I have the free will to choose, and I can either choose to live for God or choose not to. You know what I mean?
No, I like
and
where you're going with that.
it's not a simple decision, but I know we've talked about this in the past too about relationships. Like, to die for someone is easy, to live for someone is hard, because every single day you have to choose that person. Like, relationships are a choice every single day. And it's not, if it becomes an obligation, if it becomes religion, then you kind of lose that spark and relationships die. But you have to choose to like make things work no matter how hard they get, right? And that's why we have our wedding vows. But I see the same thing happen with my relationship with God too, is like, despite how hard and ugly or great things are, like, I still have to choose him, because at the end of the day, when all that is gone, who am I left with?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I like that.
It's crazy because every time we have conversations, I feel like both of you guys are always saying things that I need to hear in the moment, which is kind of insane.
No, yeah, and this is why I like the podcast. This is why I look forward to it, because it's people who are on their own separate journeys in their own faith with God, but we all have similar experiences or questions that we can share that can grow from each other. And to anybody else who's listening too, they could grow from it too. Yeah.
And the way I look at it too, now that I have a kid, and maybe that's changed my perspective a lot and validated a lot of the things I feel, in that, like, if my son's ever going through a hard time, the thing I would want him to know is like, you could always come to me, no matter how scary, no matter how deep in a hole you are. And for the good, like, I want to hear the good news in your life. Like, if you get married one day, if you get that job that you've been wanting, if you graduate from the program that you want, whatever the case may be, like, I want to hear it all. And I think like that's how God would feel about us too. No matter how ugly something is, no matter how beautiful something is, like, he's there because he chooses to be. You know what I mean? And I'd hope that we have faith in him enough that we could choose to confide in him as well. Same way that I would just like I want my son to, you know?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful right there. And yeah, I mean, from that, just like from what I could share recently is also I've been struggling to read the Bible. I finished the Gospels and I jumped into the book of Acts. And I will say the book of Acts is one of the hardest books I've gotten through, because it's a lot of history, going from like city to city to city to city. It's essentially like a vlog, but biblically, right? Just their adventures and stuff like that. And at one point I'm like, this is a lot. And I even told my dad, Dad, like, the book of Acts is kind of boring. Like, no offense to it, because, you know, I'm reading it as a book as well, but also for knowledge. And I'm reading it, I'm like, and one day I didn't read it because I was like, I don't want to read it. I don't. And then the next day I forced myself to not forced, but I had the discipline to read through it. And then sure enough, I come to a passage where like I'm not going to go into detail, it's a little bit more personal, but half of the page was all highlighted. Because it was parts that were hitting that things I needed to hear, like reassurance and things that were being answered. And it's like that thing where like if I just gave up on that book or the book of Acts, I never, I skipped it, I would never obtain that knowledge from what I read from the Bible. Not even just knowledge, but that reassurance that I got from it. And that's just, it goes to show like when you're in life or whenever you're reading something, just because, it's getting to that threshold where it's like, you're kind of, I'm going to give up. I'm just, skip. I'm going to do whatever. But if you push past through those struggles, through those confusing moments, you'll eventually make it and you'll get something from it. And that's exactly what happened to me is I got something from it. I got my reassurance. I got my answers. And now I think I'm like the last 4 chapters of it right there. And I'm going to move on to the next one after that. But that's something that kind of had to do with all that too, just to give a little bit more context on that.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of reminds me of like your parents, right? Example of when your dad's trying to give you a life lesson when you're younger, but at that time in your life, it doesn't mean anything and goes in one ear and out the next. Yeah. And the same thing happens with reading. Like, it might be boring now. It might not resonate with you now, but the fact that you highlighted it and maybe you come back later on in life when it does mean something, or that you're teaching it, or you get a revelation from it at a different point in your life. Like, that's going to be powerful in itself, because then you'll think about, the first time I read this didn't mean anything. But the second time that I encountered this scripture, I received a revelation with it. And I think I think we can all agree that we've probably all received advice from our parents at one point in time that was garbage at the time.
At the time, garbage.
But now that we're older, I've had many
It's
revelations where I'm like, dang, my dad, I get what he meant.
Yeah.
And they'll even tell you don't understand now, but you'll understand later.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. And I'm like, getting to the age where I'm like, oh. Okay.
I was like, first, is there a spider on me? Like, what are you doing? And then I was like, okay, that's the verse.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up, brothers?
What's up, brother?
I went like this,
That
dude.
was your question.
No. Okay, so I wrote it down so I didn't forget.
Oh, yeah.
I can't prepare.
Oh, I spelled that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a difference between like prayer and like speaking to God? Because I feel like there's times where I have long drives, so I feel like I'm having a conversation with God, but then I'm like, okay, Jesus is King of Kings, the Almighty. I feel like I'm having a conversation with my friend. Is it supposed to be like that, or am I supposed to be more kind of like formal and?
That is a beautiful question. Because I feel the same exact way when you're talking to him. It feels like I'm talking to a friend. But
right.
King of Kings, it's supposed to be more formal and all that, But
Do you get formal when you talk to your parents?
yeah, he's your dad.
Like when you need help or need advice, do you get formal when you talk to him? But
No.
compared to when you're having an actual deep conversation or normal conversation or any conversation at that.
No. Well.
But why? Because you feel comfortable.
But when I'm speaking to you guys is different than how I speak to my dad.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Same.
But your relationship with your dad, you probably would. Not literally, but would die for your dad.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of the level of relationship and intimacy that you guys have established throughout your life, because he's your dad,
right?
And I think that probably when you're younger is a little bit more scary because you're now acknowledging your own emotions and mistakes and going through adolescence, etc. And I think that that's similar to the way that we build a relationship with God. Is that at some point you're gonna feel scared, or you're gonna like feel like you have to be formal or ask or be polite, whatever the case may be. And then at some point, once you've established that trust, more of an intimate relationship with him, then you will start to just like speak. And I don't know, I don't have like a definitive answer because I do both.
Yeah,
still,
and
I still
feel like
pray
I
and
kind of do both too. When it's more of like a serious prayer, I guess in a way, it's more formal. To whereas like when I'm in the car and I'm
almost venting.
Yeah, it's more of like, hey Jesus, like what's up, bro?
Yeah,
like kind of
like
that, but not to like that certain extent. But it's kind of like among those lines, and it's not like as formal. So I'm like, well, King of Kings. I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't go up to a king and speak to him like this, So I'm like, I don't know how to take this, or I don't know if I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean,
I like the way what you're going through.
Yeah,
or what you're approaching it with.
Thank you.
I like that too.
I mean, again, I think that's based on your own level of relationship with God and how you feel about your relationship with Him. Because I have moments when I am like super deep and I'm like praying the way that I guess prayer should look. But there are a lot of times too when I get super deep, when I'm just having a conversation and I'm literally just venting, and then something will like trigger that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I will just get hit by the Holy Spirit and just feel like, oh my gosh, like He really touched me in the time I needed when I wasn't expecting it. But then there's been times when I've been silly, right? And just being like, dude, just thank you for that. That was cool. Like acknowledging the smallest thing. And absolutely get wrecked the same as if I were in a deep prayer. So I think it really just depends on how comfortable and confident you just feel with your relationship with Him. Because sometimes it's going to look different case by case, but you just never know when you're going to get wrecked, I guess you could say. And so I wouldn't like be too hard on yourself, because I think the idea of prayer and speaking to God kind of looks like confession almost.
Yeah.
Like you have to be suit and tie and ready to get on your knees and just, yeah, cool. That's very courteous. And I think that's respectful.
Right.
But I mean, come as you are is
Amen.
even better, because no matter where you're at, what you look like, you can always trust that that extension's always there and you can always speak to him. It's like calling a friend that always will answer late at night when you're going through a hard time, when you just want to say thank you or chop it up or catch up, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah.
Fair enough on that. No, it's beautiful. Yeah. Everything you're saying is just, I don't know, it just feels like when I, like, kind of what you said, I come here, everything that's, like, said is, like, things I needed to hear. So, like, I got nothing to say. I'm learning right now.
Nice.
Yeah, and that question has always been, like, on the back of my mind. I just always forget to ask it. But, yeah, that's very insightful.
Yeah. And the way I look at it, too, and this is another example, is like church. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to many churches. Oh my God, I can't speak. Sorry. Long day as well. Can't articulate my thoughts very well. But I've been to many churches and I've felt out of place because of the way that or how underdressed I was showing up, because Sunday best was like how most people dressed. But then I've been to some churches where, dude, like, you just knew God was there and everyone was not dressed their Sunday best. It was more of a come as you are. And I think I've shared some stories about my time at a small church where they invited homeless people in to just like come and eat and stuff. And I was like, that is cool. And we've talked about stories in the Bible where God chose the unqualified and, made them qualified or felt them or, connected with them. And I think that to me is like really cool because it just reassures me that, like, no matter what position I'm in life, appearance, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, that I can always trust that he's going to be who he is always.
Amen to that.
Black Dolphin prison?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So, jumping back into it, a couple months ago, a couple episodes ago, we talked about the death penalty.
Yes.
We talked about some prison stuff and all that great stuff, but wanted to show you guys what Russia does instead of a death penalty. Why? I'm not sure if Russia has a death penalty or not, but they have, what's it called again? The
Black Dolphin prison.
Is this the one in the middle of the snow that you see in like movies?
So. Maybe.
Like
I've never seen it, so okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best way is to hold it out here, probably.
Like in front of us?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this?
And if then I'll pop it up over here. Hit the thing. Is it the right one? Hopefully.
In Japan, many households use chains
Oh. In Japan, how do I get out of here?
Hit the little X.
Instead of rain gutters?
Hit the N at the bottom notion.
Dude, I don't have my glasses.
Let me see real quick.
Oh, hit refresh.
Yeah, refresh. There you go. Yep. And then unmute.
In Russia,
there you go.
a life sentence is more terrifying.
My double play.
Prisoners are sent to a place.
Oh, great. Okay.
There you go. We got the other one. Probably gonna be a Chrome.
Okay.
A life sentence is more terrifying than the death penalty. Prisoners are sent to a place known as the Island of Hell, officially called the Black Dolphin Prison. Black Dolphin is Russia's highest security prison, housing 200 inmates considered the nation's most significant threats, including terrorists, mafia bosses, and serial killers responsible for the blood of nearly 4,000 innocents. Thus, the death penalty is deemed too lenient for them. In this prison, inmates cannot eat together. Guards deliver food through a long stick to a small window in the inmate's cell, consisting only of coarse bread and leftovers, barely enough to sustain life. Consequently, it's rare to see anyone overweight here. When leaving their cells, inmates must walk bent at a 90-degree angle and are blindfolded when outside. They spend their entire sentences without knowing what the prison looks like, only familiar with their 5-square-meter cells. During the day, inmates are not allowed to sit or lie down on their beds, only stand. Lights must stay on at night, and covering the light in any way, including with clothes or arms, even covering the head, is prohibited. They must also remain active before sleeping. Failing to meet activity requirements results in punishment. Inmates have no privacy or human rights except for the toilet, which is fixed to the floor. The guards are armed with live ammunition, matching the number of inmates, ensuring constant 24-hour surveillance. For centuries, no inmate has successfully escaped. The only escape is death, making life here more painful than execution. Some inmates even fake escape attempts, hoping to be killed by guards. To prevent suicide, guards confiscate anything that could be used as a tool for suicide. In theory, inmates are released after serving 25 years. But no one has ever left Black Dolphin alive, making the loneliness and despair unbearable for many, who would rather die than continue living in such conditions. What do you think about this Russian prison?
Just curious what they did to get convicted.
Yeah, I just want to bring that up just to bring attention to other places.
Is that real?
I would hope so, because we spent an hour and we spent a
2
minute and 30
minutes and-
seconds watching it.
Dang, that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, at that point, spending like that much time, and they literally covered it too. Like, I would try to fake an escape to just get,
Yeah.
because, dude, if you don't know what it's looking like outside, you just know what your cell looks like, and then
That's all that you see is just the cell.
you have like no rights. It's literally almost like hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, torture, honestly.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
like, depleting you of everything, emotionally, mentally, physically. You're just
Dried up skeleton.
constantly tired. Yeah, basically just a skeleton.
But I mean, yeah. See, now this gets into like, yeah, because I don't know where I want to go with this.
I have something, but mine's completely off topic. Like if I say what I had to say, it would go completely like just a whole different direction. Because it made me rethink about something right now. Because I saw the look on your face, I was like, but then that's something else for like maybe later on we'll see it.
Wait, where were you gonna go with it?
I was gonna see, because every time, so we're Christians, right?
Yeah.
Every time we see something that was like, oh, this and that, or oh, that makes me mad. It's like the full thing about the protest on the bridge. As a Christian, how does one try to? I mean, this is like, as a Christian, how do you avoid getting frustrated where your body wants to take actions on someone?
Oh,
Like lose your temper, but that's not very Christian-like or anything like that. The only reason that popped up right now is because I saw like, yeah, I would, fake my escape to get out, but what would a Christian do to be in that situation? And that made me think about the last podcast where we talked about the protests and how if you were late, I'm not sure if I asked, but like, would you just drive through a protest line? But it's like, that's your anger overcoming you, but you're Christian. That's not very Christian-like to run through a line of protesters, and it's like, where is that?
Where
But
do you
that's how
draw
my
the
mind's
line?
thinking right now.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
shoot, dude. I mean, if
Like-
it's a tough conversation in the sense that, yeah, right from wrong, right?
Yeah.
The right thing would be, I don't know, forgiveness probably, but honestly, like, it would also be like circumstantial.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm defending my son, or if I'm defending my mom or my sisters, like, dude, if it boils down to it and it's me or this person, or sorry, my family or this person, I mean, the answer is pretty obvious, and maybe sever the consequences differently, but yeah, that's a tough one to answer.
Yeah. I don't want to go too far into that, because I'm also curious what you're thinking about.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to put it together. I don't know. Did you want to go first? I'm still trying to like mesh it all together. So I don't want to speak before. I'm not going to be like
you're
this.
fine, bro.
So, can you repeat the question?
Like, what are your thoughts on like the Dolphin?
Yeah.
Black.
So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so mine was a whole different
Yeah.
subject, but I want to bring it back to that.
That's a good
It's
topic.
like, it's because I'm not sure if they
Dolphin
mentioned if they had
prison.
human rites in there or not.
They said that there's no human rights, besides the toilet, which is fastened to the ground, which is cool. Yeah, they could use the bathroom. But I'm just kind of curious, like, what gets them there?
To that point. Yeah. So that's kind of
solitary
where I was going to go
confinement.
to. I would say like I would be okay with that if it was, all the people that are like rapists or murderers or like serial killers.
Yeah.
All those type
Like the
of people.
extreme ones that
Exactly. So it's like the extremes. I'll be like, okay, go to the. I want you there, But then we also have like our faith in play. So it's like how far can we take them to go through that? Because like going through that there, and we all believe in like forgiveness and whatnot. They're not, and if they're like on the wrong path, I feel like sending them there isn't gonna give them a path to find God either, not unless if it's in their head, because they literally don't have access to anything. But I actually do recall seeing a Holy Bible.
They were saying they confiscate anything that could be used to take their own life. But I think that was just them having a metal detector over in case they had something in there.
Okay, so they are allowed to read books, I'm
I
assuming?
assume.
So maybe they do have like a chance to kind of find, but then like you're very limited on what you can do there. You don't know what outside looks like. You know, so like you kind of just said that they don't have human rights. So it's like, okay, well, how? It's just like a tough one, because like of course you want like all the extreme like criminals there.
Do you think that would, if we had a prison like that in America, do you think that would solve a lot of problems?
No, I was gonna ask, do you think prison solves a lot of problems?
I think
Like
that. I think that prison solves.
I think that does too. And I heard
some people
like
thrive in prison. Some people
like
want to be in prison.
Yeah, or like I can't remember what other countries do. They say like if you were caught stealing, they would like cut a finger or like cut your, just depending on
like the severity.
I think that would actually for sure, like the theft rate or whatever would definitely drop. But to a certain extent, like how
extreme,
like how I can't think of the right word, like how human is that, I guess?
How humane
how
I
humane
see.
is that? But
then how humane is it?
But we're also trying to establish like everything
safe.
Exactly. So
well, my thing too is that there are prisons that probably operate at that level of severity, and then I do hear of some prisons that offer like the capability of people going and getting a degree or like studies or like going through a workshop and earning like, I don't know. It's kind of hard because again, to be honest, like I would just have to know what the person did. But I mean, from having family members go to prison, like I've had even like some of my family members get an education or you know, get a good job out of prison because of the work that they did in prison. But I've also had some family members who were treated like that, and I'm like, did it really help you? Or what's the goal here? Like, is the goal punishment or to help, or like, you know?
I think it also comes from like, if something were done to your family, like something's done to your family and you lose a couple family members, you're going to want to send them there. Right? Of course, like we're supposed to forgive, but I think, you know, forgiveness comes like over time. You're not going to be able to forgive the person like that. Maybe some people are different. They are.
I've seen videos like that where somebody's life was taken and in court they forgave him. They gave him a hug, but like I've
seen that too, but I mean, I can't say that.
I'm not saying exactly. I would mean that, but it is possible.
It's like, to me, like right now, I'm thinking like, oh, if somebody, you know, hurts one of my family members or takes their life,
I think I'd just be seeing red. Bro,
I'm gonna be at that point, I'm gonna get you back. But then, that's not very Christian. Like, but
revenge.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm gonna get you back. Like, no, you did not just do that without no.
But what's more of a man to be, to forgive or to go for revenge?
Both.
Are you saying that with just speaking out of frustration and anger, hypothetically, in that situation?
I just know how I would react.
Yeah, no,
and of course, you'd just be like red, because you're not like. I think at that point you're just in fight or flight, because you just see one of your loved ones just like,
of course,
boom. So you're just like. So I mean, if somebody were to break into your house and something happens, what do you think you would do? I would take out the Glocky Walkie.
Glocky's wild.
Well, I keep it bedside.
See, I want to say...
I do, just in case. It's bedside.
Wrong. You're not wrong.
Just roll.
But then again, a life for a life, is that like... I don't know.
I want to say like the most wholesome thing, but I know in that situation, it would be the opposite. I'm just being completely honest, you know.
So
when I could think clearly right now, I want to say the most positive thing ever, but I know being in that moment, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, we could really get into this. So, in the 10 Commandments, it says, "You shall not kill."
Yeah.
Well, what if you're in one of those situations? Someone breaks into your home, and you're trying to protect your family, and you know one thing leads to another. Pa 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 pa.
Well, to be honest, having a kid, like I just think of my son, and dude, if anything were to ever happen to my little boy, it would.
I don't blame you. I would. It's the same thing.
It's like how
It's
John
just-
Wick
it's just
was when his dog
conflicted,
died,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It would be a whole new. I mean, I got over 500 rounds just ready, but
Yeah. See, and
I'm
then
just
like
saying,
that goes against what
Yeah,
our
of course.
beliefs
That's,
are. So
that's
it's
the
like,
thing.
okay,
I'm trying to sustain as close to that as I can, but I know in that moment there's a different version of me coming out.
Mhm.
I promise me. I know in that moment I'm seeing red.
see, and
but
that, and
right
that- but
now,
that gets
I'm
into
thinking clear.
that gets into like okay, like what Mari said, like
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah,
You don't fight evil with
With evil.
evil.
but is it evil protecting your family?
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
that's
str-
where it
it's-
gets
it's-
tough.
it's
dude.
interesting.
Even though you're
because,
killing, because
yeah.
killing's evil.
Mhm.
But if you're like my situation, I'm protecting my son
Mhm.
because somebody is like letting off gunshots in our house.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
hypothetically,
saying too. Like I'm
I'm
like
like,
if somebody breaks in, of course I'm gonna try to protect my family. And if it comes to that point to where, you know, I have to take this guy's life because he's trying to take my life and my family member's life, of course I'm gonna try to get him first
Yeah, of
before
course.
any
No,
of that
of
happens.
course.
But then then it comes into like all
Well,
this other stuff.
What about Noah's Ark?
No, so okay. Before there's two things. There's two things. There's a Bible verse. I talked to my dad about it. It says like if somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek, like that. I'm not sure if you guys know that verse. And I told my dad, I was like, so Dad, if somebody breaks into a house and the Bible says if somebody's like hits you, you turn the other cheek. You don't become violent. What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm just thinking about what he said.
Well, what did he say? Noah's Ark?
No, he's like, what did you say? When someone slaps you, you
Turn the other cheek.
Oh, shoot.
But
This life is contagious. I don't know why.
dude,
It was funny, and then it hit me again.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. I knew it.
Sweating.
Okay. Where were we?
turning the other cheek.
I'm not laughing. I'm crying. Okay, turning the other cheek.
Yeah, turn your cheeks.
Yeah, I feel like when we get to this point, it's like towards the end of the pod.
Yeah. But
Okay, I can hold it together.
lost my train of thought.
Turning the other cheek. You were talking to your dad about it.
Yeah. And my dad came to the conclusion is that he would get physical. He would get involved. Protection of that. For my perspective, it's nice to be reassured from somebody who I look up to for advice. They'll think similar to me in that way. Then another thing is, remember we talked about the death penalty, if Christians could support the death penalty?
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody said something about the Old Testament, that there is something that says about taking a life of something. I don't say it's a positive manner, and don't come at me if somebody sees this on YouTube randomly. And
Well, you know what? Back in the day, they used to stone people and like whip people to death, right? In the biblical times.
Yes.
But
The death penalty, modern day crucifixion. Or stoning.
is that Christian like? Next time on
let's wrap it up here. We'll come back more prepared on that, because I feel like this whole conversation is going to turn into like a Delulu thing.
Delulu, we love you.
But yeah, that is it.
That's it. That's a
No
wrap for
announcements?
episode. Do you
Yeah.
remember what episode this is?
17.
17.
That happened
Episode
2 weeks ago.
38.